Welcome back to the channel. I'm Richard, and this is Lap of the World. If you're just now joining us, we've shipped our 320,000-mile Acura NSX across the Atlantic to, among other things, join the European NSX Club for their summer tour. In this series so far, we've collected the car from the port in Bremerhaven, dealt with a small issue in Germany, and driven through Belgium and into France. Then, in the last video, we stopped just east of Paris to explore the historic Circuit des Rangs before continuing west to arrive just outside of Le Mans. That's where you join us in this episode alongside about 40 other NSXs and their owners at Chateau d'Artigny on the first official day of NSX Club Europe's 2025 summer tour. After departing Reims, skirting Paris, and continuing west for another couple of hours thereafter, we arrived at the host venue just outside of Tours, and pulled into what has probably become a familiar sight for our longtime followers, a few dozen NSXs in a parking lot. With that said, a French Chateau parking lot is certainly a first for us. The former residence of a perfume mogul, Chateau d'Artigny has been converted into a hotel, and I can safely say it ranks among the most opulent stays we've experienced thus far in our travels. First impressions set a high bar with some amazingly detailed replicas of Honda racing engines adorning the lobby, and other decor definitely meeting expectations for what one probably thinks when they hear Chateau. Some fun trivia: enough NSX owners signed up for this event that our group accounted for every single room on the property, so this really became Chateau de NSX for the weekend. Present were several familiar faces and quite a few new ones to us in the NSX community. In particular, I was excited to finally meet one Christian Mittendorfer in person. First, he's been a sponsor of the channel back during our major service series and a great source of parts and expertise over the years, but also this time because he'd brought a left rear wheel speed sensor with him to the event. The one that I had previously replaced circa 2012 had decided to expire somewhere between Savannah and Germany, and given we have some track events still ahead of us at places known for changeable weather, I fancied having ABS. Christian having this part on him was actually coincidental, and I need to also thank Tom Haywood of Tomda from the UK, who was the intended recipient of the part, but who was graciously willing to be lightly bribed to let us have it given our immediate need. Once again, the NSX community delivers and another friend is made. Cheers, Tom, and thanks to Christian. We hope forthcoming videos will speak to what this helped enable. With the second of our issues for the trip now dealt with, we resumed some more relaxed socializing before turning in early, as the following day was an early rise, and also the carrot that drove us to ship our car to Europe versus just flying in. Well, good morning, everybody. I'm Richard.
I'm Liz.
This is Lap of the World, and
this is Le Mans.
We are at Le Mans. We're at the here, and we rolled in, I think, over 40 NSXs.
I heard 46.
I've heard different things. Our friend who is maybe slightly obsessed with the number 42 thought he counted 42 at some point. But then he said a couple of other people rolled in. But then he was not trying to count the race car because it's not really like with the group. Anyway, so we have 40-something NSXs here at Le Mans. We're about to get ready to go out on do parade laps. Spicy parade laps. So this is definitely one of those moments of like pinch yourself because you're about to get ready to go and drive the Circuit de la Sarthe, the full 24 hours of Le Mans track. And the rules of engagement are such that we need to wear helmets and there is no speed limit. Pinch yourself is right. This definitely felt pretty surreal, and I'm not sure it's still quite sunk in as I'm editing this, to roll onto the one racetrack that may shine the brightest in context of my childhood race-watching memories. The Circuit de la Sarthe, a stage for so many epic endurance battles that I either watched via live broadcast or have learned about and come to appreciate through the years since. Just thinking about the tire tracks that we were driving through gave me goosebumps as we crossed the start-finish line. On a personal level, I don't have idols, I don't get starstruck by people easily, we are all equal as humans, but I can and do appreciate and respect when one human or another achieves the pinnacle of their pursuit in life, and that has happened for many motorsports legends on this stretch of hallowed tarmac. Before I get too philosophical though, how cool is it to join 45 other NSXs for laps around Le Mans?
I can't be sure, but I suspect that, other than 911s probably, we had the largest concentration of any single model car at LeMans Classic, which I think is both testament to the NSX itself as a robust car, and also an owner community willing to get their cars out of the garage and use them as intended. Once past the first few turns and as the yellow flag lifted on our 2 flying laps, we did our best to pick our way through and say hi to all of the other NSXs and owners who attended from Austria, Belgium, Denmark, France, Germany, the Netherlands, Poland, to the UK, and probably a few other locales that I'm forgetting, in addition to contingents from Australia, Japan, and the US occupying some of the passenger seats. Doing stuff with cars is fun. Doing stuff with friends in cars is always better. These quote-unquote parade laps were absolute chaos, but quite fun, as you could imagine this being something like a Gran Turismo spec sim lobby with the cars present, but at least in this case everyone playing nicely given the stakes and lack of any prize for first. As we cross under the Dunlop Bridge for the last time and cycle off the circuit, I'll say that while we don't typically count so-called parade laps on this channel for purposes of claiming a track as driven, I'm going to make the exception here given we were helmeted, technically not limited in any way, and my prospects at a pro ride in the real race mean this is pretty much what we've got. As far as the opportunity to do this, I'll thank Honda for properly racing these cars in the 90s, and our event host Renee for arranging participation for our group and helping check a big one off my own bucket list. We'll share the footage from the full session in a future video to keep this installment at a digestible length, but suffice to say I'll now have a new, fun perspective when watching next year's 24 Hours, or for the next time I turn any virtual laps on this layout at Le Mans. For now though, after taking a few moments to cool down and compare notes, it was time for our group to move on to the rest of our weekend itinerary, and it's time for us to bid you adieu for now. I'm Richard, this is Lap of the World, and we'll see you in the next video, if not at the track.